Well, I'd always thought I wanted to be an artist from really a young age. I don't know, I was lucky or whatever it is. And so I painted all through high school, and I've always wanted to, I guess, create something out of a bunch of little stuff put together. The best thing that's ever happened to me was going to art school, and I learned color and design. I mean, they really push that constantly. And so, although I don't think I'm an expert in color, what I do know now and what I appreciate is the knowledge I brought from that. I never imagined I was going to be a furniture maker. I was going to be a sculptor, and then I decided probably a painter. I did some good paintings, I think. I don't know what motivated me to make this.
I think you were just killing time.
But it's a damn good drawing. I do like the eyes and the eyebrows, I think. And it looks just like me. As I told you when I went to art school, if I remembered this stuff, it has become intuitive, but I'm always using principles that I believe I learned in arts and crafts and design. And the design was mainly design, drawing and painting, but those designs carry through to three-dimensional work too. It's just, you know, just using the right colors or using the right shapes. It's, you know, it's, I can't explain it, you know, I mean, I don't know. I can't say, oh yes, I designed this, but that's on paper. I don't think I need it. Now, many people would probably say you sure didn't learn it. You need something, but those guys don't like me anyway. Well, a piece of wood that has a shape to it, it's just your building.
Yeah.
So you're just building on something, and that would be maybe an idea, but I really don't think I build anything from an idea. It's a vision. The only way I can describe it is an isometric brain. So as I'm working on one piece, I kind of know what I want to do. A piece of work is constantly in flux, but I know what this piece is going to be, so I'm thinking of another piece. And another thing I really miss not working, I haven't done anything in 2 years because of some health issues. And what I really, really miss is at night going to sleep, because I can go to sleep thinking about what I'm going to do tomorrow morning. And that was just a joy, you know, a color that I was going to try, or what piece of wood goes where, or is there a drawer there? So I really miss that.
He follows threads, you know. His whole goal is pushing the edges, you know, just always seeing how far he can take something and where he can take it. So it's unexpected, it's not planned, but he'll go with something, and if it really is inspiring, he'll do a lot of it, and he'll start exploring it. It takes on its own life, and he just sort of follows and pushes, you know, as he goes. That's kind of been his approach, you know, that I've observed all the way through.
I guess you know me a little bit after 60 some odd years. Precious art I do not make, but I'd like, you know.
Are you happy with what you've accomplished?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, there's nothing else I want to accomplish other than to be able to work again, but that ain't going to happen. I'm called an artist, and it's flattering, but I think I see myself as a furniture maker. If I can say it's satisfaction.
Yes.
And that,
More than a pressure.
I'm just, when I do a piece that I think is good, I'm really satisfied.
I'm John Brooks, born in New Hampshire, Manchester, and got interested in visual art as a child. There was no question in my mind, that I wanted to continue with the arts, and thought I would love to do wood sculpture because that was something that I picked up on my own and started doing. Continued right through high school with that, but I didn't have any education with woodworking. So I applied to Rhode Island School of Design and to RIT. I ended up with working with Wendell Castle and Bill Kaiser, and a wonderful experience. And I did undergraduate work, and then I did a graduate degree program, and then moved to the Bay Area in San Francisco and decided I would try to make a living making furniture and sculpture. I would describe my work at this point as a collaboration with nature. The work is a collaborative process where, rather than sitting down and designing something, I wander about in the forest and look for things that I'm attracted to or I see possibilities in. And occasionally I go into the forest looking for a specific shape, but I think I do a lot better when I just find something that I'm attracted to and then see what the possible options are for me and the shape working together. I'm attracted to the forest, and that's something that goes back to my childhood. And in the development of my visual voice, I decided to be collaborative in the process. I was attracted to the forest and to trees, and so I just kind of evolved into working with tree forms. Some of it came from working with Wendell, where he was doing the stack laminating, and I could see these solid forms that he was subtracting, and I decided I would go work with solid pieces, that were already in existence, and do subtractive work from them. And then my work evolved into thinner, lighter pieces where I was doing more construction of taking smaller saplings and joining them together. But I still do both, the subtractive carving and the constructive pieces. As a child, I loved working with color. I loved to paint. And when I was in art school, I did a lot of painting. Canvas painting, drawings with colors. And then I got away from it for a while, where it was just the wood, natural wood, like some of the pieces you see in here. Then I had this residency at the University of Tasmania, just part of Australia. And I was given a full year on a salary to just do whatever I wanted to do. And I decided I would start looking at Aboriginal work and other cultural works in color, and suddenly the color started to come back. I developed this visual language, which was the use of hieroglyphics in my work and with color pencil. So it was just a raw wood, and then I did color pencil marks on it. And then I started painting whole pieces and more that way. So that's how I got into color, and I still am. But I still do pieces that have no color on them whatsoever. I have a lot of technologies that I've developed myself as far as joinery techniques that are basically devised out of necessity to get things together so that they're strong. So, yeah. And I use a lot of Delrin, because most of my joinery is in the round, because the wood is in the round. So the pieces that I use for joinery are round. All the tenon, all the joinery is round things as opposed to rectilinear. Particularly maple, it's very abundant here. It's very strong, it's very durable, so I can get fairly small pieces of it that follow the shape of the tree and are extremely strong, as opposed to taking lumber and then laminating it into that shape, or steaming it or bending it. So I just like to use the shapes as they are. But again, I refine them so the essence of that form is made easier visually to read. Instead of being all lumpy and bumpy and other, I refine it quite a bit. I spend a lot of time doing that. Well, again, I'm attracted to the shape of it first, and then I go from there. So I combine lumber with some pieces, but the actual structural form of a lot of pieces is, sticks, saplings, that sort of thing. And I tend to leave, the lumber part natural, so you can see the grain in it. So, but I love the material, but I also try to be respectful to the form of the tree, but I refine it beyond what it could possibly do by itself. And then I can change it into something totally other than what it was, although its essence is still there. But I've always been very attracted to the wood just as it was. And I think that was a good way to get started and to get a really firm grounding about how pieces of wood go together and what is the relationship of the grain and how it looks and how it works. Function adds a level of complication to a piece that sculpture doesn't have to contend with. So if you're going to make a sculptural form that you can sit on, that's a tall order. A chair is a very difficult object to make in construction.
My name is Mira Nakashima. I'm the daughter of George Nakashima, and I worked under him for 20 years as his design assistant. And when my dad passed away in 1990, we had most of this wood off-site with no place to go. I didn't know whether we'd be able to keep the business going, but I looked at the pile of wood and I decided we have to keep going. We have to use this wood and we have to keep our employees in a job, and I have to fill these orders that my father had taken. It's hard finding the right piece of wood for the right job, but we do our best. It's hard to remember where everything is, but we do have it on a database. We can theoretically find it by size and shape and species. We try to stay as true to the methods of construction that my father developed as closely as possible. Respect the shape of and quality of the wood itself. Each plank from each log is different. I personally have to hand draw each plank before I can really figure out what to do with it, before I know how to price it. And when you're studying and you're drawing something by hand, you can see details that you don't see in a photograph. The experience of living with the wood in their homes and the fact that it is not just a piece of furniture, but it is also a work of art.
His journey through life, he was always a seeker. And he finally found that he would, through his relationship with trees could be teachers. That they have so much to teach human beings, just their way of life, the way they live, and connected to the earth. That would be his way of connecting with nature, connecting with other human beings. So in his life work, he was taking pieces of trees that had died, but still had the living spirit in them.
What my father built it on up until now has been a very personal relationship with our clients. I mean, people will come back and they say, oh, I remember, even when they sell it on secondary market, some of them will be in tears because they remember picking out the piece of wood that they were made that particular piece of furniture out of with my father, and how much it meant to them, and how he talked to them and became their friend while they were making the furniture. And I would hate to have that kind of relationship die, because that's very important. Sam Maloof said that too. He said the important thing is the relationship not only with the woodworker and the wood, but the direct relationship with the client, and between the wood and the client and the maker, who is also the designer, you have an integral process which you wouldn't have otherwise. And I think that's really important for us to keep going.
No. Like this will be this way maybe, then come in this way, see. Yeah. We can make a cardboard one out of that white wood. Right. Okay. I think it's going to be very nice in here. We'll make this narrow, and then I want to come down. Not that far, but it'll what
What are
makes
the
it.
arms going to look like?
And the arms, that's what I'm wondering, I think on these, because this is so low, I think we'll have arms like this.
You know, as he got older, and especially after he got into his 90s,
Just like this.
I don't know if there was just a sense of urgency that he had, being that he was getting older, that he thought, well, maybe if there's a chance that I could take some time and make a couple new pieces, that maybe it's the time to do it. You know, maybe I don't have too much more time in this world, and so it was towards the end of 2008 that I would say in the fall of that year that he started expressing to us that he was going to maybe do maybe 3 chairs that were new pieces, completely apart from anything that he had done up to that point. And so he was getting frail, and we noticed that he wouldn't come up every day like he used to, that some days he just didn't feel up to coming all the way up the steps to the shop. And so we just felt like, you know, like he was starting to decline.
And it was like 2 pieces I need to do before I die. One of them was the chase, and the other one was a low back rocker. He started making them, and one day I'm coming over, and now Sam's 92 years old at this point. I came over for a visit, and I asked the guys where Sam was. He says he's in the studio. So I'm looking around, I see nobody in the studio, so I call out Sam. Sam, are you in here?
Motion, I forgot
And I
all
hear
about
this weak
that.
voice coming from the middle of the studio, so I walk to it.
I'm going to start on another one right away,
And Sam is on his back, laying next to the chase rocker, measuring the height of the leg, because he didn't feel that it was quite yet at the right point that it needed to be to make that rocker rock the way it should. But 92 years old, laying down on his back, doing the final measurements on that chair. And the chair turned out beautiful. I just want to get inside of it. This was one of the last pieces that Sam designed, and one of the last pieces on his things to do. And it turned out beautiful.
It was for a petite woman or something would be just right.
I was in bed and I got up and made a quick sketch of it. They were, what the heck are you doing? And I think it's going to be a real nice little chair.
There's something about, even if people don't know how to vocalize, or even if they are aware of it necessarily, consciously, when a maker has kind of control over an object from beginning to end, his hands are touching every line as he's smoothing and working it. There's something about that object that, not to be overly romantic about it, but there's something about that object that I think people are responding to with maybe not being totally aware of it. There's you know, you're working this material very consciously over time, and having control over every line and curve. And there's a bit of an essence to that object. It brings an essence to that object, I think, that people respond to when they see, touch, feel it. I mean, Sam was involved in producing a lot of pieces over and over again, but each one was unique in that he oversaw every detail.
good inch at least. That's in the hole.
I think that's going to be good. It gives me relaxing.
You want this flat area here lowered down?
I think I'd make it down about here.
We're going to meet down by the stained glass door, and then we'll come back and just go over it and worry about it. We'll stop in the kitchen and talk about that. So if you want to squeeze in, I like that. Spice the singing boys.
Is the fact he had an impeccable sense of proportion. There was nobody like him in that regard. And so when he first started doing furniture, chairs, they were what I call very authentic and very personal, very unusual, and maybe not so functional, but really unusual and interesting visually.
When I looked at like his chairs, the way the curves just kind of flow into each other, it has like a human feel to it, and it fits, like, it looks like it would be comfortable. I wish I could sit in more of those chairs. It's interesting, like, they're so beautiful, you don't want to touch them, but they also look like that's what they're for. Like, they want you to sit in them or to be touched.
So to me, Sam Maloof is, first he was doing things first. He's so copied that you see the work everywhere, but he designed it. He came up with ideas that hadn't been done. To me, what I see in his work is that it's a combination of an organic feeling with incredible craftsmanship and precision and skill to it. Oftentimes when you see the pieces with the natural edge tabletops, and even a finished piece, and the rocker is the obvious example where it has these curves and movement to it. But to me, it's very organic. But a lot of times the organic work isn't precise. But he had a combination of both. He had this flowing organicness to the work where it's beautiful curves and beautiful flow to it, yet executed absolutely perfectly.
I have been completely inspired by Sam. Sometimes I have to worry about this inspiration, or am I copying Sam? And I never wanted to do that. I always tried to move away, but every time I do that, it was not.
See, it looks pretty balanced.
It didn't work. Sam started with some basic principles, and the logical conclusions of those early decisions are his furniture. And if you start with his design criteria, you wind up with the Maloof. That's why so many of the inspired by or copies by other people never rise to the level of Sam. He's truly unique. So I quit making furniture for 4 years, went in making guitars and kind of just generally taking a different, trying to get a different philosophy.
See, it isn't high enough really though, it just to sit on, it gives me very, very good sitting and see what you think. See what you...
Sam invented Sam. I mean, they're beautifully made. I mean, Jesus Christ. They are really, really beautifully made. I've looked at that chair a number of times. I know how he did it, and I've seen him making them. They've got to, you know, that's got to have a lot of talented hours in it. Sanding and joining and filing and scraping, and I haven't got enough time for that. And it's, yeah, he was a good guy.
I'm not worried about this. If the grain were going this way, I'd be worried about it, but I think that'll hold up real nice. She rocks real nice. Yeah, we've gotten so many orders. Pieces from Rockies, from Europe.
This was in the early 50s. And in the early 50s, furniture was sort of, they called it French provincial, but it really wasn't. It was sort of country, and they stained the wood orange, and they had little ruffly lampshades, and things were kind of busy. And here was this very simple, beautifully proportioned dining room table of walnut with beautiful grain, and the light was shining on it, and I cried. I said, that is the most beautiful piece of furniture I've ever seen. And so I was newly married, and my new husband said, we could call on the maker and see if he'd make us one. So we came to visit Sam and said, we're newly married, we don't have a savings, we don't have a house, but someday we'd love a dining room table that you make. So we started paying him $35 a month. And some years passed, and we bought our first house, and I called and I said, quick, Sam, we bought a house, make the table. So he made a table and brought it over, and it was the first piece of furniture we had. We didn't have chairs, we didn't have, we had a player piano and Sam's dining room table and borrowed chairs for our first house. So that's how we got to be friends, and we were friends from the early 50s on. And through the years we acquired more pieces of furniture, and then Cupid flew in the door and we fell in love. And he had lost his first dear wife, and we got married in, when did we get married? It's been 14 years ago. So that's how we met.
What is it, 2009?
My name is Tadao Arimoto. I'm from Kyoto, Japan. I'm a woodworker and I make doors, benches, furniture, other usable things. I came here in 1976. In Japan, I studied product design. Before I finished the course, I decided not to apply for office job, but to make something, because I wanted to be involved in the whole process of making things. I saw a beautiful bench in a store in Japan, and I was so intrigued and touched by that piece, and my heart was, Then, so I found out who made that. So I called this very famous sculptor, actually, Shigeru Ueki. And so he was very nice. Yeah, come on over. So I visited him. Then he befriended me for a long time. I did not become an apprentice. That time I almost knew what I wanted to use for my main material. Then another final decision is made when I cut old cherry. Actually, I took the old cherry log to the sawmill and have them cut in half. But when this dirty wood was cut and it came out this beautiful orange inside of this tree, and it was the moment I knew that was what I'm going to do. I like domestic hardwood, such as cherry, walnut, maple, black locust. Those trees I mentioned, they all do, but they age well. That's what I like, and it takes in the time very nicely. Cherry will darken, walnut will lighten, black locust fights the weather. It's a very, very beautiful weather-resistant wood. Design is an important element for me. Another important element is the material, especially sliced log. They're so-called lightness, so beautiful already. So how do you cut into it to make something? So it's always a challenge. So I like to try to retain some of the quality of the nature's inspiration and materials nature into the final product. If it can tell the story to the people come after, that would be very interesting. Time is an important element to me. If you see inside of the tree, you can see it maybe hit with strong wind, or branch was broken one point early on. Some chainsaw sawyer cut it the wrong place, or split certain ways. Those things are all history of the material, and I try to work with it, because I'm another just a flash of time touching that tree at that point, and then journey continues. Not everything needs to be light and easy to carry, but wood is heavy, big wood is heavy, but big wood will give you such a interesting experience touching it. The temperature of the wood is very close to our temperature, not like stone, not like iron. And the life cycle is, in a way, closer to us than stone. I always try to remember those things and try to, if I can, incorporate that concept into design. The design itself should be simple and strong, but not overwhelming. It does not have to speak or shout all the time. So it's nice to see some beautiful thing in certain time, and that piece may be different from the piece you can live every day for a long time. I make things with the user in mind. It's not my expression of my personal feeling, but it's a design that works well with the user and the material itself. There's a fractal of sort of vein-like fractal. You can see on your vein trees, river, or a pattern of the dried river in the desert. So because it's a design without the designer, so I like to learn the shape from that. I get inspiration from nature. When I look at big trees, I feel how short my life is. I always thought that wood is a very futuristic material, and they're always pointing sky, and the other side is always pointing center of earth. Again, it's a fractal I like. The vein-shaped root holds the tree, and then leaves, branches helps to grow a tree. Some of them look so nice. Each one is so different. Together they make the forest. Instead of trying to control the nature to perfection, you let go some. Then you can learn from it by making it, well, hopefully by using it. I don't try to express Japaneseness in the work. Yeah, it's just how functional element and natural material meet. Then I try to solve the problem between those things. That's all. We are used to perfectly flat surface, and that was a caveman's dream. And a perfectly round plate, but Industrial Revolution perfected it. But in that process, we lose some sense of connection to other things other than geometry. Maybe nature, time, emotion. So it takes effort on both sides, me and the client, to figure out how we can live with imperfect shape. What I can do within that lifespan is interesting challenge.